Hello and welcome to Parents and Toddlers Reading Early On. I'm so glad that you could join us and are viewing my new webinar. I am your host, Chelsea Carvalho, and we will be discussing a lot of great things over these next 5 sessions. Our webinar details. So I have chosen a book, and the book is titled Reading with Babies, Toddlers, and Twos. And the reason why I chose this book is to help parents gain a understanding and feel for how they should be reading to their babies and toddlers, and why it is important to read to our babies and toddlers. So this webinar is for parents or teachers of babies and toddlers, or just other people who are wanting to gain an understanding of how you can even read to a baby and why you should even read to a baby. The duration of this webinar will be over the course of 5 weeks, today starting the week 1, and I will be uploading a new video to this platform each week for your viewing. This video is, of course, week 1, and we will be reviewing chapters 1 and 2 of the book Reading with Babies, Toddlers, and Twos by Susan Straub and KJ Dell'Antonia. If you do not have this book or you have never read this book, do not fear, it is okay. A lot of what I'll be discussing is just pulling out the main components of this book. And also I have some other evidence too that I will be discussing as well throughout this webinar. The tentative dates for the new videos, so week 2 would be September 6th, and we will be discussing chapters 3 and 4. And then week 3 would be September 13th, and we would be discussing chapters 5 and 6. Week 4 would be September 21st, and we will be discussing chapters 7 and 8. And then we will finish up week 5 on September 27th, and that will be the last 3 chapters of the book, 9 through 11. And hopefully at the end, you will have gained some knowledge and understanding, and we'll be also using the strategies and commenting and discussing through the chat platform of what you have been doing and the results you have been seeing with your babies and toddlers. Reading as a baby. So as we grow older, we as in children of elementary age to middle school students to high school, young adults and elderly, we see books for what they really are. And that is, books are to be read and sometimes even analyzed. You use books for research. You use books to gain an understanding of a subject. You use books for pleasure, to read and as entertainment, right? But babies, they see books as infinitely useful for playing peekaboo, for experimenting with Newton's law of gravity, such as just dropping the book on the floor. They see books as being something to form a bridge and to allow that little giraffe that they're playing with to walk through and into the plastic barn door. Basically, they just see books for not what they are, not reading, and that's okay. But as a parent, we want to read, and we want our babies to grow and be able to read by kindergarten or first grade. but as a baby, they just want to experience. So the outdated goal for a parent would be to read through an entire book to the baby while he or she just sits there and listens quietly and maybe makes eye contact with you and smiles. But as a mother of two and one on the way, I can tell you that is not a realistic goal. Our new goal should be to savor the experience and to enjoy reading to our children, whether they're just um, mouthing the words as you read, which would be fantastic if they could, or they're just using the book as a hat, and that's okay. Just savor the experience because these years go by so quick and these moments pass by in the blink of an eye. But what you are giving to your baby and to your toddler by exposing them to books and to encouraging them to read and reading aloud to your baby, those are the foundations of what your baby and your toddler will need to be able to understand early literacy and the what it takes to be able to read. So chapter 1 of our book, Reading with Babies, Toddlers, and Twos, it lists some fun things that you as the parent or guardian, or even the teacher, if you're teaching in a preschool or a daycare with babies and toddlers, some fun things you can do while you're reading with your baby. Fall asleep. That's always something that can happen, especially when they are infants and they're still taking naps throughout the day. Sometimes reading a book to them, it'll just put them right to sleep. Babies will grab the book. Be prepared. They will grab the book, and the first thing, what are they going to want to do with the book when they grab it? Put it in their mouth. It is normal. Do not get frustrated. Again, remember, savor the experience and just know that your baby is learning through experience. They are feeling the texture of the book. They are putting it in their mouth. Babies have this oral fixation where everything must go into their mouth. And that is normal. That is a normal developmental skill for babies. So allow them to grab the book and just put it in their mouth. Maybe even make a game of it with them. If they grab the book and put it in their mouth, you can gently pull it out of their mouth and say, "No, yucky, we don't put the book in our mouth. Let mommy show you." And you can open the book to them and take their hand and put their hand on the pages, take their hand and flip the pages with them, show them. So don't ever scold your baby or put the book away and say it's reading time is over. Okay, we don't want to develop negative associations with reading. We want our babies to think it's something fun to do. So when they do get older, they only associate reading with positive aspects. Babies will pull your hair during reading, and they'll pull your hair anytime during feeding, during sleeping. My 2-year-old still pulls my hair, so that's going to happen. Hold the page so you can't turn it. That's always a fun one. So you are trying to get through and reading the book. You just want to be able to read an entire book to your baby. But again, this is new for them. This is something they've never seen before. Or if you have been reading to your baby, it's still something new for them and exciting, and they don't quite understand the concept of taking the pages and turning to find something new. Sometimes your baby is going to get stuck on that one page and just want you to keep reading that one page over and over and over again, and to the point where you're just ready to put the book away. But remember, this is for them, not for you. You are there to facilitate them. You are there to support them. You are there to encourage them. So allow your baby to look at that page for as long as they want and read that page to them as much as you can. Point out all the little details of that page, everything that's on that page, the illustrations that you can verbalize what you are seeing. And so the baby can look too, point to what you are seeing. Say the words on that page. So your baby or your toddler is learning new vocabulary, learning how to express what they are seeing. Another thing a baby will do is sit on the floor and look at you like you are out of your mind. They are not quite sure what's going on, but they love you and they are going to tolerate what you are doing, which is reading a book to them. But don't worry, in time, they will find books as exciting as you do. One thing that has broken my heart many times is your baby might tear the page. That is going to happen. And now, as my babies are now toddlers, we still have some books where they have teared the page, and I have taped it back up, and they will now point to that tear that is taped up, and they will say, my son's name is Elijah. He'll say, Elijah ripped that. And I said, yeah, you did rip that when you were a baby. Or even my daughter, she's 3, and she's has way more vocabulary than him. She will say, I remember when I ripped that when I was a baby. I said, oh, you remember ripping that? She says, yes, I'm sorry. So they now have an understanding that we don't rip books, but when they are infants, that will happen. Just put some tape on it or glue, and don't make a big deal about it. You can, of course, say to your baby, oh, we hurt the book. That's so sad. Maybe give a kiss to the book. Ask the baby to give a kiss to the book so that they know that it makes mommy or daddy sad when they rip the book. And chances are they won't do it again, or maybe not too many times after that. They're going to throw the book on the floor. That's going to happen again. Newton's law of gravity. They just love to test it out, especially if you are giving them a book when they're in their high chair or sitting on a couch. They're just going to think it's so funny being able to throw that book on the floor. It happens. Point and demand. What is that? Of every single object on the page. I am telling you, every single one. Now my son, he can actually say, what is that? And he points to every single object on the page. What's that? What's that? What's that? Even if he knows what it is. And so now I try and I flip the page. I flip the conversation, and I say to him, you know what that is. Tell mommy what that is. And he will tell me elephant or a bat or whatever we're reading. And he knows, but he likes the dialogue going back and forth between me and him. He likes me to participate. If he brings a book to me and I'm distracted doing something, he gets frustrated, visibly frustrated, and he wants me to participate with him and read. He doesn't just want to sit there and look at the book himself. He wants mommy to read the book with him. So it's so important that we are participating with our babies and our toddlers, and we are giving them that time that they want, and that is to read along with them. Of course, they're going to scream and babble out their own stories while you read, and that is so exciting because they are beginning to verbalize reading. They're beginning to verbalize reading aloud. They see mommy or daddy or their teacher using words to tell a story that's right in front of them. and they're making those connections, and they are wanting to use those words themselves as well. And so they blah, 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 or goo, goo, gaga, and they are very happy to share with you what they see on the page. So allow them to vocalize, allow them to be excited when they're reading, and encourage that excitement by clapping your hands. Yay, you said it. That's right. It's an apple. The apple was on the tree. Good job. Things like that. Open and shut the book over and over and over. Playing peekaboo. That's just something fun that's going to happen. Um, they may listen happily for only 2 pages and then run away and be done with it. My son was doing that for a while. He would be so excited, run up to me with a book, and I would get through 1 page and he'd say, "The end," and close the book and run away. So that will happen, and that's perfectly normal and okay. You at least gave them your attention, your time, and you encouraged reading. You didn't just say no to the book. Um, Also, in chapter 1, it has this really great stages of reading to a baby. So it goes through with um, when your baby is newborn. If you have black and white books, those are great for newborns because they are not quite yet seeing in color. And so black, white, and even red is a good color for them to be able to focus on and see what is there. Sometimes if you have a book that's filled with colors, they just won't be able to focus on anything. But once the baby is getting to the heads up stage, meaning they are able to hold their head up on their own, you can try putting the baby on the floor with an open book in front of him for tummy time. That's a great distractor during tummy time because a lot of times babies lay on their tummy and it's really hard work for them they're starting to strengthen those muscles in their neck, in their back, and they get frustrated very easily in tummy time. So books are a great way to distract your baby during tummy time. And of course, if you are laying on your tummy as well and pointing to all the pictures in the book and saying what those pictures are with excitement, that can make tummy time last a lot longer for your baby. Once your baby gets to sitting up on his or her own, this is a good time to start. Where is the blank? And then you say the bear or the boat or anything, whatever's on that page. You say, "Where is the?" And you ask the baby, "Where is it?" And hopefully, the baby might point to something, and you could say, if it's not it, you can say, "Good try," and you take their little finger and you point to the bear, or you point to the boat, whatever you were asking. Um, you could say, "There it is," sitting across from each other on the floor and handing the book back and forth. That is a good way that you can get your baby engaged with the book and maybe even make a little game out of it. Um, you can even say, "Can I have the book with the doggy?" So if you gave your baby 2 books, one had a doggy on it and one had a boat on it, you could say, "Can I have the book with the doggy on it?" And your baby might look at it and actually pick up the one with the doggy and give it to you. Or if they give you the one with the boat, say, "That's so silly, that's a boat," and point to the boat and then give it back to the baby. And then point to the book with the doggy and say, "This is the doggy, see?" And then they give it back to you. Something like that. Um, Crawling, if they get to the crawling stage, you can you can let your baby crawl to you and a book as you read. So try reading a book with the baby in his or her high chair after a meal. If your baby is now cruising along the furniture or even walking, this is prime time for initiating a one-on-one favorite book. So for a long, long time, one of my both of my children's favorite books was Moo Ba La La La. Like my daughter can recite that book verbatim. She knows it by heart, even though she cannot read yet, because we have read it so many times. So your baby at this stage might get their own favorite book, and they bring that book to you all the time and want you to read it. Um, if they're talking in a few words, your baby may want to read to you, and that would be so exciting. You sit back and now watch your baby, your toddler now, um, read to you. And even if they're making up words, it is so adorable to see my 3-year-old make up a story. She has the book in her hand, and she always starts with "Once upon a time in a faraway land," and she will read the book to me. And of course, she's not actually reading it, but she thinks she is. And I sit there fascinated, and I say, "Wow, really? That happened? Oh my goodness, tell me more." And she gets all excited. And so it's really fun experience once they get a little bit older. Now, if they're talking all the time, you can try to get your toddler to tell you the stories from his or her favorite book. You can try getting something wrong in the book and letting him catch you. So, if you have read that book many times, like the Muba La 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 book we have read, I have said something wrong on the page, and both of my toddlers will now say, "No, mommy, that's not what it says," and then they correct me. So it's really great when you start reading a book many times with your baby or your toddler. Um, in chapter 2, where are your baby's books? So if you have books in every room, you will read to your baby more often. They will be easily accessible to you and to your baby or your toddler. You can turn to a book when other activities have run out of steam, and she can ask for a book with gestures or words, or maybe if your baby just needs a little cuddle time, it's a great time to be reading a book to your baby. Um, she'll learn that books aren't just meant to put you to sleep. She will, don't worry. They are a part of everyday life and can be just as, if not more, fun as any electronic button pushing gizmo the toy companies have devised. Best of all, a book is a surefire way to get a grown up participation and attention. Who can resist and request to read? So it's definitely ideal to have books in multiple areas. Doesn't have to be every single area of your house, but multiple areas of where your baby or your toddler um, plays or sits the, predominantly. So, for example, here are some examples of easily accessible books that I have in my own house with my own children. So as you can see here, let me get my little red pointer. Okay, so here's my son Elijah and my daughter Bella, and this is their bed. And here is a little shelf that their father built for them, and on that shelf I have a bunch of books for, like, these are more like bedtime books. I try to include here books that will help them relax and calm down, not so much the exciting, fun books that gets them really excited. These are the more calming books because it's where they're going to sleep, and we usually read before bed. So they have a routine now. Well, they've had this routine for since they were itty bitty, and that is we eat dinner, and then I bathe them every night. And after they get their baths, their father brushes their teeth, and then they climb into bed and they get to choose a book to read. Sometimes I let them each choose 2 books, depending on the time. And we read those books. They lay down, they get a song, and they go right to sleep. So that has become engraved in our daily routine, and they love it. They love children, they thrive on routines. And if you can incorporate reading into your child's routine, that is just going to be phenomenal for setting the foundations of reading to your child. And then, of course, right here, you can see this is their playroom. And this shelf right here, it's like shaped like a little house, has a bunch of books. And these are their fun books, their exciting books that they love to read and jump and get excited when mommy reads them. So these books I keep in their playroom. And then hopefully I can play this cute little video I have of my daughter reading to my son.
Yay! It's a moo, the cow. So see the body part. No, we say pigs say oink oink.
And that is the book that I was just telling you about, Moo Ba La La La. And that's one of their favorite books that they read, and she can recite this book word for word, and it's so adorable because no, of course she can't actually read the words on the page, but she from me reading it to her so many times, she knows how the book goes, what each page says, and if I pretend to say something wrong on the page, she will definitely correct me and she will tell me, no, that's not what it says. It says this. So it's pretty cute. Some other supporting evidence I had mentioned at the beginning of this presentation that I have pulled evidence from other sources. And in this one article, evidence of parent-mediated joint book reading on the early language development of toddlers and preschoolers. This is authored by Carol Trivette, Carl Dunst, and Ellen Gorman. And here are a couple quotes that I have that I really thought it was important to pull out from this article. Whitehurst, 1988, Justice and Kavberg, as well as others, have proposed characteristics of reading experiences which are considered important for promoting oral and comprehension language development in young children. The characteristics include adult behaviors used during a reading episode, such as commenting on the story, imitating what the child says, praising what that child says, asking open-ended questions. So these are all great strategies that as a parent or a teacher, we should be incorporating when we are reading to our children or our students. And then in this next video here, there's more evidence that shows how important it is to read to your babies. And this was pulled from CNN, and it is a doctor who has studied the importance of reading to your babies. So let's go ahead and watch this video.
Yeah, Froggy? ¿Cómo hace Froggy? The Froggy hace rip it in English y croc croc in Spanish.
And the
Oh, yeah, Froggy? ¿Cómo hace Froggy? The Froggy hace rip it in English y croc croc in Spanish.
And Eleni Dela Cruz's 4-month checkup, her mom is not only learning about baby nutrition, vaccines, and safety, but also about the importance of reading to babies right from the start.
It's not one study. It's more than 15 or 20 studies that all say the same thing again and again. When parents read with their children, there are beneficial effects, and the effects include language and cognitive outcomes for children.
The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends parents read to their children beginning in infancy because early exposure to language, whether it's reading, talking, or singing, can have a profound effect on a child's ability to learn and succeed later in life. And that interaction strengthens the emotional bond between parent and baby.
This is a natural way to promote the relationship between the parent and the child, and that is foundational. We know that early relationships are really what set set the child's life course in a positive way.
Susanna Beckwith is with Reach Out and Read, a nonprofit literacy program that works with pediatricians to prescribe books and encourage families to read together.
90% of brain development happens between the ages of birth and 3 years of age. And we don't want to miss that window of opportunity for children. The more language that they hear and exposed to in those early years, the better prepared they are for school.
Research shows more than 80% of children living in low-income families are not proficient in reading by the end of the 3rd grade.
If you lose a child at the beginning of their educational career, you often can't regain that connection.
To help prevent that, Reach Out and Read donates books to pediatricians who see children at most risk for reading failure. And the American Academy of Pediatrics has these tips for reading to baby. Read every day. Read with emotion, pick colorful, sturdy books they can hold, plan a special reading time, and ask questions and talk about feelings as the child grows. While reading to an infant right from the start is ideal, says Dr. High, she wants parents to know if they didn't get that chance, it's never too late to start.
I don't think that reading is the very first thing you think about when a baby is born. But when things calm down, when you have time to take your breath, then reading is a wonderful, fun opportunity, a way of nurturing the parent-child relationship and building language and literacy skills that will last a lifetime.
In Providence,
again,
Rhode Island,
it is
I'm Linda
so
Champa
important.
for CNN.
A little bit about my background. I am a teacher and now a stay-at-home mom, but I had taught English language arts for 7 years before becoming a stay-at-home mom. And I have seen countless students who are struggling to read in 6th grade, even that was the grade that I taught. And it's heartbreaking because you think back now as a parent, I think back to how they were when they were infants and toddlers, and even starting elementary school, what happened where they slipped through the cracks. And if parents can spend 10, 15 minutes a day, it's not that long, just 15 minutes of your time reading to your baby, to your toddler, you are going to set them up for academic success. And it is just so important to be able to read to your baby and your toddler. You are exposing them to language, you are exposing them to written language, and they are forming a bond with you and a connection through reading where they know that it is safe to read with mommy and daddy. It is safe to make a mistake when we're reading. And it's okay because my mommy and daddy are there to help me and to keep learning. So here, in this video clip, I am demonstrating strategies from the book, Reading with Your Babies and Toddlers and Twos. And here you will see I allow my daughter to hold the book. It was a little bit hard because I had both my children in one hand, or in each hand, and then of course my third child is still in my tummy, and so it was a little bit awkward sitting on the chair there to film this video. But usually we're laying in bed, and it's a lot easier for them to hold the book. But allowing them to flip the pages, pause to see if they will fill in the blanks of the words. You will see me pause a couple times. And both my children have read this book, Snuggle Puppy by Sandra Boynton, many times. And we like to sing and laugh and read and engage while we are reading this book. So here we go. Do we hold our book like this?
No.
No. Show mommy how we hold the book.
Like that.
Good job.
Like this.
Oopsie.
Like this.
Can you hold the book for us, Bella?
Yeah.
Okay, Bella's gonna hold it while mommy reads.
Ow.
Okay, here, like this. Open here. Are you ready to hear the story, Elijah? Oh, that's not nice to treat the book like that. Good job giving the book kisses. We love the book, right?
Yeah.
We'd be sweet with the book. Okay.
This book is called what? What's the name of this book?
Snuggle Puppy.
Snuggle Puppy. Well, I have a thing to tell you.
What that, Mommy?
That is a bowl of cake that they're making.
Why?
The puppy is helping his mommy make cake.
You mean his daddy?
Oh, that's his daddy?
So just a
Okay,
couple
so the puppy's
things
helping
now
his
from this
daddy make
first
cake.
minute of the video.
Well,
Um,
I have a thing to
In the
tell
beginning,
you, and
my
it
son
won't
got a
take
bit frustrated
long.
because I
But
chose my
where's
daughter
Mommy?
to hold the
Oh, maybe
book,
she's
and of
shopping
course
at the
he already
store.
started acting
The
negatively
way I
towards the
feel
book,
about
hitting
you
it,
is
which
kind
I
of a
chose to ignore at
song.
first,
You
and
gonna help mommy
then
sing the
he
song?
decided to
It
escalate by
starts with
spitting at the book, and so you can see I remained
and
calm,
ends with a
and I show that he not only hurt
and
my
all
feelings,
along
but
the
he hurt
middle
the
it
book's
goes
feelings, and I
something
changed
like
my tone,
this.
and I expressed to him how it is sad that he spit at the book, and he
Now
immediately goes and gives the book kisses, and that is his way of apologizing and showing that he does love the book. And so once we got past that, then he was able to get into the book, and one of the first things he says is, "What's that?" And that's what we talked about earlier in this presentation. They will pause you, they will ask you questions during reading a book, and it is a great way to develop their language skills by answering those questions and pausing the book. Remember, savor the experience. So let's keep watching this video.
Kisses is especially fine. I love what you are. I love what you do. Ooh, I love you. What's next?
Goo
Gaga. Goo goo gaga. Now, I wanted to just tell you, and it didn't take long, the way I feel about cookies. Yeah, it's kind of a song. I started with, ooh, good job. And I gave you a kiss. I hope you like the middle. Now we'll end like this. How does it end? Ooh, snuggle puppy of mine. Everything about you is especially fine. I love what you are. I love what you do. Ooh, I love you.
Okay, so as you can see, my daughter abruptly ended the video, but a couple last pointers here. At the beginning of the book, my son had asked the question, "What's that?" And it was they were making cookies. And then at the end of the book, he saw the exact same picture, and he said it himself, "Cookies." So instead of asking what's that, he had then told me that it's cookies, which was great because he was connecting and associating and now telling me what is happening in the story. And of course, the couple of times I paused, they both were able to fill in the blanks. My daughter, she verbalized what the snuggle puppy's mommy gives, and that's a kiss. And they were dancing during the reading of this book, which is great because we're incorporating movement while reading, and that's all great positive aspects of reading to your babies and your toddlers. So I have some discussion questions here that I would love if you can write your answers in the comments of the comment section of this post. How does your baby or toddler respond to reading? What do you feel is the hardest part about incorporating daily reading with your baby or toddler? And what strategies shown in this video do you use with your baby or toddler? Or do you use any others? And of course, teachers, if you're there listening too, you can change the questions to your students, and you can tell me how you incorporate these reading strategies with your students, and how your students respond to reading, and how you incorporate daily reading in your schedule with your students. Thank you so much for viewing week 1 of our webinar, Parents and Toddlers Reading Early On. Please tune in next week, September 6th, for chapters 3 and 4 of Susan Straub's and KJ Dell'Antonia's book, Reading with Babies, Toddlers, and Twos. And here are my references for your point of reference. And thank you again for viewing. Bye-bye.